This is where the season really starts, Manchester United fans. Welcome back to the Manchester Evening News. I'm Sam Hutchison, and this is my preview of Man United versus Newcastle. Behind me, you can see Old Trafford, and this might not be plain sailing for Erik ten Hag as he plays Newcastle this weekend. Just after the international break, and this is where the season really gets into the nitty-gritty, really. It's going to be a difficult game. It'll be a lot harder than the cup final was, which Manchester United won quite easily, really. I don't think it'll be as straightforward, and I don't think it'll be easy for Erik ten Hag to get it right this time. The sun's just come out here in Manchester, so if anything happens with flares or anything, I'm sorry about that. However, I don't know whether Manchester United can really... They definitely can't play the same lineup that won in that cup final. It's going to be a lot more difficult for Manchester United to sort of make themselves come across quite as strong as they did against Newcastle in that cup final, and there's some real big issues for Erik ten Hag to deal with, including a massive injury crisis in midfield, which we covered earlier in the week on our YouTube channel. But I think this game could be a massive hurdle for Erik ten Hag to sort of settle the team, make sure that they carry on this good form that they've shown pretty much all season into the second half of this season and sort of into this last portion of this season more than anything. Manchester United currently have this massive injury issue in midfield, and that's going to be Erik ten Hag's biggest sort of challenge for this game. It's going to be a difficult game to sort of deal with this midfield because Newcastle pretty much at full strength, but we'll get onto that later. Sabitzer may or may not be injured. Ex-Manchester United manager and current Austria manager who was with him on international duty said that he picked up a knock and he was carrying a sort of niggling injury, which is really not positive for Manchester United. It means that their replacement for an injured midfielder has got injured himself, and it's just not that helpful, really, is it? Also, Casemiro continues his suspension after he got that red card, and that, there's a real massive gap of talent that Manchester United have got in that midfield. It looks like they have 3 senior midfielders available in Scott McTominay, Bruno Fernandes and Fred. So that'll have to be the midfield by the looks of things. Unless Erik ten Hag's got something up his sleeve, like Sancho maybe playing in a more midfield role in like a number 10, a bit more central than he usually does. But I can't see him doing that. I don't think that was what will happen. And I think Scott McTominay has been really good recently. I don't know how many of you out there watched his performance against Spain for his national side, Scotland, but he was absolutely fantastic, and he showed sort of things that we know he's capable of at Manchester United, but he's not shown regularly enough. If you haven't seen it, go and check out those highlights. He was brilliant. It really might offer Erik ten Hag a new option in midfield, rather than just playing him as this sort of Casemiro backup, which is what he's been this season. I do think it'll be a bit more difficult than maybe first expected. I don't think the Sabitzer injury, Eriksen injury, Van der Beek injury, Casemiro suspension, and Man United were already light in midfield. He's going to have to buy another midfielder in summer, at the very least. Even if he doesn't make Sabitzer permanent. And if he makes Sabitzer permanent, I think he'll still need another midfielder. So I do think midfield's going to be where this game's won or lost. I say that a lot in these previews, but I do think that's where it'll be won or lost. And usually Man United look like they have the stronger midfield, but this time maybe Newcastle do. Erik ten Hag also has some injury issues in defence and attack. Marcus Rashford missed the whole international break with England, didn't play a minute, didn't even go. And Rafael Varan he's retired from international football now, but he was carrying a knock, so he missed that last game before the break, which could be a real massive loss for Manchester United. It's real not good that Erik ten Hag's really sort of playing such a rotated side. All of that in combination with Newcastle looking for revenge from that Carabao Cup defeat. It was comfortable for Man United in that game at Wembley, and it was pretty much as straightforward as a game at Wembley can be. However, it's not going to be that straightforward this time. Newcastle have pretty much all their players back. They've got a couple of injuries in sort of Almiron and Anthony Gordon, but everyone else is pretty much fit, or at least back in training. As for Newcastle's team news, Callum Wilson, Alan Saint-Maximin, Nick Pope and Sven Botman are all back, which just means they're a stronger side again than they were before the international break. And they're going to be able to play a full-strength side. danger men are really Alexander Isak, and sort of Alan Saint-Maximin's always got a trick up his sleeve. Bruno Guimaraes runs midfields, and with Man United's weakened midfield, it remains to be seen where this game's going to be won, but I think it will be in midfield, like I said. So now, Manchester United fans, onto a predicted 11 and a score prediction. I think the predicted 11, I'll go for David De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Martinez and Varan will be in centre-half at a 4. I think Varan will be back. Luke Shaw will start at left-back. I think in midfield, it'll have to be Fred, McTominay and Fernandes, and Erik ten Hag's been really sort of reluctant to play Fred and McTominay together, but I think he'll be forced into it this week. I think then, in attack, I think Rashford will be okay. I'm going to hazard a guess and say that he'll be alright. I think Anthony will be on the right wing, and I think Weghorst will start up front. I'm unsure whether Anthony Martial will be fit enough to start, and I'm unsure whether sort of Weghorst really got that enough to be Man United striker for the future. But we have done a couple of videos on that this week. There's plenty of articles on the website about Manchester United's possible striker options, and maybe one of them will be perfect and one will be coming in the summer. As for a score prediction, I think it'll be 2-2 draw. I think this is the first time I've not backed Manchester United to win in one of these predictions, and honestly I think it'll be a 2-2 draw.